Hello everyone, it's me, Get Dave Dio, and it's channel update time. So let's talk about stuff that's happening. On the channel, still hammering through Fire Emblem Fates. There's a couple other games I want to talk to y'all about, but we'll wait a minute to get there, because I want to go over some of the exciting things that happened this month. Games Done Quick is going on right now. It's a charity thing for Doctors Without Borders this time. They're going through almost 200 games, speedrunning them all. It's a really well done production. You should check it out. GamesDoneQuick.com, going on until July 11th or something like that. They usually run for about a week. July 10th, I think. They started the day before Independence Day, for effect. So, pretty cool. E3 happened after my last channel update and before this one. I wanted to talk about Breath of the Wild because it looked amazing, and I watched the Nintendo Direct or whatever they call it when they had the Treehouse people doing their presentation for the game, and I was actually getting really excited and refreshing like crazy and everything, and it was like emotional for me to see the game because I think about like if any of you watched the sequelitis that Ego Raptor did on why he thinks Ocarina of Time is overrated, and he's kind of I think a lot of his points are valid. Maybe you don't agree with the overall conclusion, but the criticisms are all spot on. And that echoed a lot of frustrations I have where it's like, you open a treasure chest, it takes 10 minutes, and then you just get a damn joy pendant at the end. Anyway, anyone who's played Wind Waker knows how I feel. And that's my favorite Zelda. They get worse. Skyward Sword is barely playable. They interrupt you like every 10 seconds. It's like XCOM 2, except only the yelling. Anyway, it's like they took all those things and then did the opposite. And it's beautiful. And I'm really excited to play it. Who knows when it's going to come out? What did you think? It caused like stampedes at E3 for the first time in a decade. It was pretty neat. That's my opinion. You know what I think. But anybody else freak out when they saw it? I was just, it's a game that, like, I didn't play it, but it looks like the feeling is similar to that of being outside, which is just magical, I think. Anyway, other things. Okay, maybe I'll let's play I Am Setsuna. I mean, the Zelda one's pretty much in the bag. I think I have to, don't I? But I Am Setsuna is coming out quite soon. It's by Square Enix. They set up a company called Tokyo RPG Factory, which is sort of a subsidiary to focus on traditional JRPGs, kind of based on the classic era. And I think most people would agree that 1992, let's say, to 98, or even to 99, let's say, the Final Fantasy IV to Final Fantasy IX window, and Chrono Trigger was in there, Secret of Mana was in there. That was the golden age of JRPGs. That's my opinion anyway. There's a lot coming out right now, but they just aren't like hitting home runs like they were back in the 90s. Anyway, I love Chrono Trigger, as you should all know. It's, I think, one of the greatest games ever made. I Am Setsuna is based on it. Now, I'm worried about it because they're trying to make a spiritual sequel to Chrono Trigger, and so they made a world where it's always snowing. So like they have X Strike from the combat system. It's ATB and there's dual attacks, but they have a world always covered in snow and like a piano only soundtrack, and the main character is like on a journey that sounds a lot like the plot to Final Fantasy X, where she like has to go die basically. This is like a really high level one of both games, but where it's like, yeah, I'm just going on a pilgrimage, probably not gonna live, and it's like this sort of death march is the theme of the game. And it's like the optimism and the fun and the Back to the Future-esque emotion of Chrono Trigger seems to be completely absent. That's my 2 bits anyway. Maybe if they didn't say it was going to be like Chrono Trigger, maybe if they stopped marketing it that way, I'd feel better about it. But I'm worried. So, what do you all think about it? Am I being paranoid? I'm kind of the belief that the JRPG is dead, and there's lots that are coming out, but I mean it the same way Nietzsche said God is dead. Or actually, no, everyone misinterprets that one too. It's like when people say rock and roll is dead. Sure, Muse is still rocking hard, so, more accurate to say rock and roll is mostly dead, but you can't make a headline out of that. Anyway, I think the JRPGs are dead. Maybe, I think Square Enix identified that and is trying to do something. I don't know. On that note, Final Fantasy 15's coming out soon too. I have a PS4. Let's play a PS4 game, and I have plans to in October, but no one's guessing it. No one's guessing the game. Anyway, this is coming out soon. I played the demo. I'm also worried about this one. I mean, I've been thinking since the start when they were showing the footage of the 4 main characters getting out of the car. I just took a look at it and I was like, man, that's a lot of bad haircuts. There's no female characters except for a sexy mechanic. Earlier on, they were advertising a lot of story. That seems to have dissipated for them trying to do a open world thing. I don't know. I'm worried. We got a game of Chrono Trigger that is a walk across a barren world towards their doom, and Final Fantasy 15, and they're not talking about characters and personalities anymore, and it's like a group of bros who all dress the same. I'm worried. Anyway, gonna talk about the game now. I'd be interested in all of your opinions on Am Setsuna, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy 15. Just, I don't know, maybe I'm freaking out. Anyway, Don't Break the Chain is a thing I'm doing because, so I've been working on the game for a very long time, and I'll sneak a picture as well. And part of how I've been doing it, and I just thought this would be a fun thing to share, is this motivational method, which is actually centered on we'll call it a discipline generation method. And what it is let's say you want to get good at drawing. You get a calendar, and then you get a piece of paper, and you put a line on it. And maybe you do more than that. Maybe you draw for 5 hours. Maybe you just only have that line. But if you do that, you go to your calendar, you put a 1. The next day, you get a piece of paper, you put another line. Maybe it's a continuation. Maybe you draw for 5 hours again. Maybe not, but you put a 2 then. And it's just to get you into the habit of, you open your art book, you draw a line. You close it, so that you are always in the process of activating, that habit. Jerry Seinfeld notoriously used it for, you write a joke. The next day, you write a joke. Is it a terrible joke? Who cares? You write a joke. And eventually, you start making good habits. I've been doing that for the game. I've been doing that for a while. In 2015, I got my chain to 293. And then that was the day. So, because I started it in, I don't know, you could do the math. We moved in December, and everything was in boxes, so the chain broke that day. So I started February 10th-ish. I gave myself an out for a brief vacation with the family, provided I did other game-related work on it, and then I called it neutral. I sort of erased it from time, but all those other days are days I worked on the game's code base. I got my calendar, the NHL Superstars calendar, where somehow Max Pacioretty makes the cut. I mean, good, but let's not throw around the term superstar lightly. At 185 at the time I'm making this video, I haven't missed a single day in 2016. Worked on the code base every single day. So that's just a thing I've been doing. What we've got going on in the game right now is Reina's in the engine. Her animations are linked up to a bunch of the behavior, and I've been modifying them. There's some tricky things that can happen. For example, if a character jumps and they pull their legs up, as you would do if you were trying to jump over something, right? Because when you're just jumping willy-nilly, your feet leave the ground, they go back and hit the ground, and, your height doesn't really change. Both your physical height, as in the distance from the top of your head to the bottom of your foot, and your height relative to the ground. Those don't change a ton, maybe a little for the latter. But in the game, both of those change a lot because Reina pulls her arms up. She sort of curls forward a bit because she's jumping to get on something. And that's actually kind of, I won't use the word difficult, but it's a problem you have to solve because anytime the character is significantly changing in shape, you have to adjust their hitbox. I'll talk about colliders a lot. You can think of them as hitboxes. So you have to come up with solutions for that. So I had to redo a couple things, and now I sort of have... there's a lot of different solutions, and there is a way to like morph the box, but I didn't really like where it was going, the stuff I had to do. I wasn't willing to cross those lines. Anyway, that's resolved. We got her in engine, running around, jumping around, swimming around. It's pretty cool. I'm able to do this because of people who watch the channel and people who donate on Patreon. Both of those are helping fund everything. We're going to get to the point where I will start showing stuff later, because a lot of people are like, oh man, you got to start showing us stuff. The problem is game development looks really ugly right up until right up until you get near a certain level of being finished, which is actually really far down the line. Like once you code your shader, then you just have to make all the art and everything, and change it and adjust it so it matches other things, and that's really late down the pipeline. There will be stuff to show, so if you're wondering about that, it'll happen. I'm able to do all this stuff because of people donating to help me on Patreon, which is fantastically helpful. The game would not be possible without it. There was a moment really early on where I was sort of looking at everything that we were trying to go for, and I basically realized like the channel just doesn't generate enough money by itself. Like the ad revenue is good, but we need more, and people have been really responding well on Patreon, and I thank you so much, because that's what really bumped it into the category of like, hey, I could actually give someone enough money that they would give me a little bit of their time every week, so we can actually like have some continuity, have the same artist working on stuff, and build it properly. So if you are able to support on Patreon, there's a link you can click on, and it makes a huge difference to me and to you someday. If you can't, that's fine too. Like comments are a way of doing that. I just really appreciate all of you is what I'm trying to say, and it helps me a lot. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next Let's Play.